training, giving you tips and ideas for using your quantum iLife Infinity. I am a naturopathic doctor, Dr. Ariel Policano. I'm here every week to help you to use your quantum infinity and make it more meaningful to you, help you to use it in more and different ways, more meaningful ways to make a difference in your life, the life of your family, and the life of your clients. During this time, you have an opportunity to ask questions. So if you have questions today or some aspect of the quantum infinity that you want to see in action, you want to talk about a particular way of healing or working with some particular issue, then go right ahead and type your question in the chat box. It's a pleasure to be with you today. As always, I want to just thank everyone for coming on today. Dolores, good to have you here. Janie, what a pleasure. Jean, welcome. Good to have you here. Jordana, get in touch with me. We still need to talk. Good to have you on today. Maggie, welcome. Monique, warm welcome to you. Good to have you on. Randall, hey, hey, hey. And Sandy, haven't had you on in a while, so really good to have you here. Everyone, a warm welcome to you, and everyone who continues to join us, very, very nice to have you on board. Okay, so this is an opportunity. Do you have questions, anything you'd like to ask about? By all means, go ahead and hop in there. And I'm going to be having another webinar soon about the mat that I told you about. This is the PEMF mat, and just talking in general about PEMF technology. So I'll be having another one of those come up soon in case you missed the last one. Pulsed electric magnetic field therapy is all about adding to what you already have with the quantum infinity and adding more frequency. And in that class yesterday, we talked a lot about what is called resonance. And I wanted to point out, I may even do a class on this book, a really good book, but it is very, very detailed. It reads like an academic book, is Dr. James Oshman's Energy Medicine, The Scientific Basis. So Dr. James Oshman, Energy Medicine, The Scientific Basis. So you may want to check that out. And in the class on pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, which is called PEMF, I talked a bit about some of the aspects of resonance. And I just wanted to quickly jump in there and just talk to you a bit. So you may want to check that book out about energy medicine. And I just want to get in here. Let me see. All right, so just a couple of concepts here. Let's actually get in here. And this is just from the PowerPoint from yesterday. Yesterday I did a class, which I'm going to be having again, on the benefits of using pulsed electronic magnetic field therapy. We're not going to go through the whole thing right now, but I do want to just get into this one aspect that I talked about. Yeah, there we go. And just want to talk about resonance, because resonance is important to us as energy practitioners with the quantum infinity. So resonance is the process by which a field of particular frequency or wavelength can transfer vibrational energy from one object to another. So this is one thought about what resonance is. Resonance is the process by which a field of particular frequency or wavelength can transfer vibrational energy from one object to another. And with the quantum infinity, there's definitely an entrainment of frequency. We're trying to get you into alignment. We're trying to change and shift your energy field through the frequencies, the harmonizing frequencies that are being run by the quantum infinity. So there is, in some way, an exchange of energy where you're bringing that frequency into your energy field through the quantum infinity. And what it's doing is it is reducing your reactivity. What the quantum infinity is bringing up, the things that are highlighted in red, the things that are high or the things that are low, represent your reactivity to a particular issue. And we interpret this reactivity as a disharmony, a deficiency in the nutrient. We have to take it all into context, but there's something that you're stressed out about in reaction to that particular frequency. And the harmonizing is meant to reduce that reactivity. And that's why we see the numbers change. That's why we see the numbers start to come into alignment. Tiny fields excite or energize specific natural processes that take place deep within the body. Tiny fields excite or energize specific natural processes that take place deep within the body. So just to point out, it's very low level frequencies that make the difference. So when we talk about, and we have to turn up the intensity of the quantum infinity, not necessarily. The body is so fragile, and so not the body, but these frequencies are so tender, and the DNA is responding to the most subtle of frequencies. So yes, even just using your tiny quantum infinity on your iPad can make a profound difference. It's these small, subtle frequencies that the body is reacting to. One thing about electromagnetic resonance, but I think it really applies to the quantum infinity as well. So you could insert quantum infinity frequencies. Electromagnetic resonance can be used. This is from James Oshman in Energy Medicine, The Scientific Basis. Electromagnetic resonance can be used to influence processes taking place in areas that are difficult to reach with drugs, such as the interior of the brain, which is protected by the blood-brain barrier. So it's very hard to get drugs and often supplements past the blood-brain barrier. So we need energetic devices like the quantum infinity because it can easily penetrate that. It can easily go beyond that. Energy can move past the blood-brain barrier much more easily. Or, and this is interesting, electromagnetic resonance, like the frequencies of the quantum, can go to the interior pockets of inflammation that are separated from general circulation by an inflammatory barricade. The interior pockets of inflammation that are separated from the general circulation by an inflammatory barricade. So you have a chronic infection. Why in the world why can't you get over it? Why can't you get beyond it? You take so much vitamin C. You take so many remedies. You take all of these great immune boosters. Why can't you overcome it? Well, if they're cordoned off by this inflammatory barricade, it's very, very difficult to get to. However, harmonizing frequencies, these frequencies that reduce reactivity, the frequencies that come from the quantum infinity, things that would come from things like a PEMF mat, all of these things can penetrate that inflammatory barricade and make the difference. So we need energy medicine today, frequency medicine, more than we ever had before. And you see down at the bottom it says, electrical changes may yield more powerful changes than chemical changes, like supplementation. Well, that really comes from Dr. Jerry Tennant. And in his book, he says, we're electrical beings way before we're chemical beings. And the first time I read that statement, I was really taken aback because my training as a naturopathic doctor is all about supplement, supplement, supplement. And I mean, supplements can be really, really powerful, but it's all about what are we going to give that person to take? What are we going to replace that they're missing? And what about switching the energy? And so I just wanted to sort of bring some awareness to you about energy medicine. These low-level frequencies that you're using, these Hertz frequencies that are generated from your quantum infinity, they're very, very powerful. They don't necessarily need even to be amped up at all. They're powerful as they are. When I was talking to one of the students after last night's free class, she was saying to me that the one thing that has really kept her going are the quantum infinity frequencies. And she runs different ones often to help her breathing, her heart, her lungs. And she said this is the one thing that gives her some relief. Now, I wouldn't always recommend relying on that solely, but it's really profound, the experiences that people relate of using the quantum infinity frequencies. So I'm just going to go through this. This is just from the lecture. I'm just going to get through the the PowerPoint here. And this is, I'll be doing another free class on this in the future. So let's just, I don't know if I can get through this one. Okay, there we go. And then I'll take your calls. But I just wanted to talk a bit about resonance. And again, that book is called Energy Medicine, the Scientific Basis, and very, very profound, by James Oshman. All right, so let's just get through this. And like I said, I'll take your questions. I have a few things I want to talk to you about today. And I will be doing another free lecture on this soon. The reason I'm doing this about this particular PEMF is because it is really profound, the changes I've experienced and the people around me are experiencing. And it goes hand in hand with your quantum infinity. But let's get back to the quantum infinity and talk a bit about your questions and your comments. And Randall says, do you think that that kind of energy can penetrate biofilms? Absolutely. We don't have any proof, but I think you're probably a lot more likely to get to the biofilms, which I think in some ways are similar to the inflammatory barricade in terms of the obstruction of efficacy that you will get when you're trying to use these regular means of intervention. So I definitely think, I mean, the biofilms absolutely are going to be affected by energy medicine. So that's a really good question. Okay, and definitely, Sandy, I'll make sure that you're on the list. And good morning to everyone who joined us a bit past the hour. Very, very good to have you with us today. I want to remind you while we're talking how powerful, speaking of energy medicine, that the meridians and the chakras are. So when you're running any session, say over the next week, please use the meridians in or the chakras in your balancing session if you've not used them recently or if you don't use them at all. So the meridians, let's go ahead and scan them and talk a bit about them. Very, very powerful balancing because the meridians embody the they are all encompassing of mind, body, and spirit. So you're really covering a lot when you're talking about the meridians. So you'll find that when you use them in your balancing sessions, you may find that you're reaching the rectification faster and that you're actually getting more profound results. You're getting faster results. So let's talk about this in a moment here. Let's see some of your other comments. What would it mean if spiritual energy is 65? Okay, good one from Dr. Frank. Thank you so much. We'll get to that for sure. What changes the overall chakra number in your opinion? I'm struggling to find frequencies that bring that number up. Okay. And Dr. Kim, good question. And you're very skillful and very clever, so I don't know if I can do better than you're doing, but we'll go in and we'll take a look at it for sure. Okay, so talking about the meridians for a moment here, and then we'll get to these other questions. Keep your questions coming. These are excellent questions, you guys, and thank you so much for those. The liver, the lung, the small intestine. So the liver and the lung, we see the liver here. You always see a time of day, and people get really knocked off by that time of day. What does that mean? Well, every meridian is associated with a particular time of day when that meridian is more active. So when you see these come up, these could be times of day when you experience an aggravation, when you really don't feel particularly good. So the liver, between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., you'll often find that the person will wake up around that time. And here, this person might really have an issue with sleep. We see 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., and then we go right into the cycle for the lung meridian, and we're at 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. So they may get, to sleep at night, and then they may wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and not be able to get back to sleep until 6 o'clock in the morning. So they may really have this dual aggravation. So these will be very, very good to balance for them. And then we have the small intestine from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. about insecurity, sadness. We're going to talk about these emotions in a second. So in the afternoon, this person might get really sleepy, or they might get really emotional around this time. So it's not going to be a great time for them between 1 and 3, say right after lunch or something like that. And I'm having an issue with the sound. So just you guys give me 1 minute here. I'm just going to adjust the sound. I'm going to be right back. Okay, we're back. Okay, so first of all, you go in, you see what these 3 meridians are. Now, I want to point something out about these particular meridians. These are going to be highlighted because they're the 3 top meridians in terms of numerical score. But that does not mean that they are the only ones that you should be looking at in terms of the top priority. Even though they're not highlighted, it's really beneficial and really important to look at the low numbers. So your low numbers, as many of you know because you come on and listen to the classes, the low numbers are the most significant. And especially when you're thinking about the meridians, okay? Meridians tell us that these are places where energy is flowing through. And if we're not having energy flow through, we have stagnation, we have blockage. And the lower the number, the more the blockage and the more the stagnation. So we see we have a tremendous deficiency here in the large intestine. So that is going to be one of the most important meridians for us to use in our harmonizing session. So we'll go down here into the large intestine. Now this little diagram that appears here, we're going to pull this down here. The diagram that appears here is not just sort of decorative. It actually is very informative. There's a lot going on here. And we can see the different meridians that are paired. So large intestine is paired with the lung. So often if people have blockages in their intestine for some reason, they often have lung issues. If they have lung issues, there may be stuff, related with they may be impacting their large intestine. These things, which came first, it's hard to know. So as they begin to breathe better, they may actually get better functionality of their large intestine. So they tell you bladder and kidney are paired. Well, that's not a surprise, right? Liver and gallbladder are paired. This is all part of the Chinese medicine system. Spleen and stomach. Spleen has a lot to do with digestion. Heart and small intestine and pericardium are all related up here. And then it tells you emotions that are related. That with large intestine and lung, there's often the emotion of grief. The heart and small intestine, joy is an emotion. Bladder and kidney, you've probably heard this, fear, right? That's a related emotion. So again, you're working on body, you're working on the emotions, you're working on the spirit, you're working on removing stagnation. And so going from lower to higher, the ones that we're looking at that are most important are, there's a lot of deficiencies here, by the way, large intestine, governing meridian, gallbladder, bladder, and pericardium. So there's a lot. This is us collectively, so we really do need a bit of a tune-up here. And so this is, how are you nourishing your chi? Do you do something each day to make sure that you remove stagnation? The mat that we talked about last night certainly helps with that. But what do you do in terms of breathing exercise, yoga, movement, walking, certain, qigong exercises? Those things would help for sure, as well as different herbal formulas that might help to nourish and build the blood in some way. We have an overwhelming sign of sort of deficiency, sort of tired, not really enough energy, not enough vital force. And certainly that's something that looks like collectively we need to work on. Let's sort of we'll come back to the meridians. Let's get to some of your specific questions. And Dr. Frank had a question about the spirituality panel. And here we do have spiritual protection. He said, why is spiritual protection 65? I mean, it's specifically spiritual protection, not spirituality per se. So if spiritual protection is 65, the implication would be that this person is not employing spiritual hygiene, that they've left themselves open to energy being pulled from them through by other forces. So the people around you, the people you work with, just in general, there are certain spiritual hygienic techniques. A common one taught by the Berkeley Psychic Institute is one of putting roses around yourself. So you create a grounding cord out your second chakra. You see the grounding cord goes down to the earth core crystal. You get yourself grounded in the morning. You can even clear that cord. You can energetically imagine clearing the cord that goes from your second chakra down to the earth core crystal. And then you surround yourself with a rose in the front. You send that down with a grounding cord down to the earth core crystal, a rose behind you. So when you say imagine a rose, what do? You just imagine that there's a rose. You could smell the rose. You could see the color. It exists in front of you. It exists behind you. And you give it something called a grounding cord. A grounding cord is you actually see a little energetic cord come out from the rose. It goes down through your floor, all the way down into the earth, into a structure within the earth called the earth core crystal. You see it connect. These roses, then you put one on your right side, one on your left side. You can put one above you, one below you, one to the diagonal right, diagonal left, all of that, all around you. It sounds maybe a bit strange, but roses in particular have a very high vibrational quality to them. And again, this is not me making this up. This is from the Berkeley Psychic Institute, a very well-reputed, respected place where they teach energy medicine, psychic, intuitive classes, and so forth. So you have those structures around you, and people who are clairvoyant can see these structures. And when somebody comes at you, when you're working with someone, healing them, helping them, it's very easy for the energy to come out from you and go to them. And we really want the energy to come up from the universe and go to them, and not, or you want to let that energy flow universally through you to the person, but not pull the energy out from you to them. So during the day, people who protect themselves in this way, who provide spiritual protection, I call it spiritual hygiene, will notice that these roses will disintegrate at different points during the day, at which point you just refresh the rose. Now, you may be saying, how in the heck would I know? You can feel it if you tune into it. You can sort of feel when those roses need to be refreshed. And what they're doing is they're providing you an energetic field where people cannot penetrate. That's sort of a sponge that soaks up people's energy. If you're a healer, then you're walking around the earth with a lot of light, and people just sort of don't know why they're drawn to you, right? Well, I'm sure you're a nice person and you have wonderful, you're a very magnetic person, but they're sort of drawn to you because you have that light. And people will often pull that energy from you because they're so deficient in that light and energy themselves. So it's good to do some type of daily routine, some type of spiritual hygiene. And this is why I suspect that this number is so low. There are a lot of confusing frequencies in here that sort of throw people off, but they all come back to the same thing. The whole world is really about you, in terms of you're the center of all of this. You're not a victim to it. So if there's a psychic attack, then you want to just work more on your own shield. So something might be getting through. And also you want to make sure you have to examine how you're engaging with other people and how you're talking to yourself. If this is chanting and invocations, how are you talking to yourself? What is your self-talk? Are you part of this process? Cutting the cord simply means it's time for you to look at your relationships with other people. As you learn in, Psychic School 101, people can throw out cords to you. So if they are thinking about you, or if they are feeling angry towards you, or if they're in some type of a codependent relationship with you, they can throw out those cords. In psychic hygiene, you learn how to remove these cords and let them go. But if you're in a codependent relationship with someone, or if you're thinking bad thoughts about them and hating them and thinking, you're forming a cord with them. So you want to remove that cord and let it go. When you remove the cord, you imagine usually you get a cord to a particular chakra. You want to imagine just letting that energy go and filling the void where you've removed that cord with divine golden light. Some people say Christ like light, or some people just say golden light. You want to refill that space and put energy where you actually remove that cord. This all sounds a lot like psychic surgery. To some degree it is. You'd be very surprised when you have clairvoyants who can see the energy. They can literally see these cords and they can see them being removed. So it's really quite powerful. So Dr. Frank, I hope I've lent some insight into the meaning of spiritual protection, and hopefully engaging in some of that good energetic protection for everybody on here, that you may be feeling much better the next day. You may find that you have more energy, you feel brighter, you feel better because now you're employing that spiritual hygiene technique. What changes overall from Dr. Kim in your guys? What changes the chakra numbers? Yeah, I think that's interesting. I mean, the chakras are so much more meaningful than we realize. So what she's saying is she's having trouble moving the needle a little bit, changing one of the chakra numbers. And people often say, oh, I recheck myself and I don't think this is consistent. But boy, you can really see the consistency, especially in these chakra numbers. As I go through with my clients and work with them, you'll see that one place where the chakra is blocked over and over again. And we see this very low number down here in the solar chakra. That's the third chakra. This is a chakra that has to do with energy. It could also have to do with that stuck breathing. This is a place where if you feel disempowered, if you feel like a victim, it can also, if you've not been able to step into your power, it could be affecting you at that solar or third chakra. So there's no magic to this. This is really about sort of trying to sort this out and finding out, why do you have this particular blockage in this area? Now, this could be a physical issue too. So if there's a physical something going on in the throat chakra, it would often be about the thyroid. In the heart chakra, it would be probably about the heart and the lungs because they're located in this area. In the solar chakra, this could be about anything in the digestive area. So it could be pancreas, liver, stomach, small intestine. Down here, you're in the sacral chakra, sort of that second chakra, you're getting more into reproductive stuff. The second chakra is about creativity, sexual energy. So you're getting, you can see the location here. This would be more about uterus, prostate, ovaries. So when these things are out of balance, we need to be a bit of a detective and sort of ask the greater question, why might this chakra be out of balance for this particular person? If the crown chakra is out of balance, what's going on with their brain, with their cognitive function? But more than that, are they meditating? Do they have a spiritual practice? Are they cultivating that in some way? So if they're not meditating, tell them, try 3 weeks or a week of meditation, come back and recheck it. Or you do that yourself and see how does your crown chakra start to come into balance. It might be opening up. So the chakras are actually a really good check-in for that. A couple of places where we have imbalances. It's sort of a key window into where do you have the most imbalance in your life? Where are you, not allowing energy to flow through the chakra? So there's no magic way to unlock these if they're not moving. It's not the quantum infinity that's not working correctly. It's something, the pieces that we haven't put together about that particular blockage. And that is the art of biofeedback, is becoming very good at putting those pieces together. So thanks, you guys. You guys are asking absolutely fantastic questions today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming with these really awesome concepts and asking them to be brought out even more. So Dolores says, does balancing a meridian actually remove a blockage, or do you have to do more? Well, again, we're a combination, right? We're still in third dimensional reality to some degree. We're in bodies. So it really is just going to depend on that particular person and what's going on with them. If there is, again, the question, does balancing a meridian actually remove a blockage, or do you have to do more? Energy medicine can be very powerful. It could remove the blockage. There's no doubt about it. You can see an opening in the meridian, but does it need to be just done once for 1 minute? Maybe that's enough, but how long has this progression been happening where the meridian energy has been diminishing? And what were the actions that they were taking to causing the diminishment? How long did that go on for? So it might take an hour of balancing. It might take 6 months of balancing. This is where you'd want your client to get the Quanta capsule. So it may not happen overnight. Yes, you're starting to make a little bit of an opening, and so the person could feel better, but there may be more work to be done. Again, the most dramatic example is they come in and their lung meridian is out of balance. So you're balancing their lung meridian the whole time. You're adding in solfeggio frequencies. You're doing a great job. Wow, you're the most amazing healer. They leave the session. They feel fantastic. The first thing they do when they go outside the door of your office is they light up a cigarette. So then they come back. For some reason, you can't figure out, the lung meridian is all of a sudden there's stasis, stagnation. There seems to be a problem. Well, so if people don't change their lifestyle, or if they don't change their belief systems, oh, the quantum infinity could never heal me, then these things will not change over the long term. So it's really important to take the global view, make sure you're looking at the whole picture. You have to do a good history to really understand what's going on with your client. And the best way to approach a history is to discover their daily life. You would probably be as successful if you could follow them from the time they get up in the morning until the time that they go to sleep at night. And in that time that you spend with them during their day, their typical day, you'd go, aha, this is what the problem is. The negative thoughts or the patterns or whatever it is. You sort of would discover that over the course of a day, or the food that they're eating. So does balancing a meridian actually remove a blockage, or do you have to do more? The answer is both. Yes, it could actually remove a blockage, and you may have to do more. Good question, Dolores. Joanne says, hi, Dr. Ariel. Every time I scan a client in body systems panel, circulatory system keeps coming up with 24 or 26. I've tried everything concerning circulation. What can I do? Thank you. So again, it's sort of the same question, is you've got to be a bit more of a detective, and you might need to get some second or third opinions for you in particular, or for that person. So certainly if circulatory system is coming up, there may be a physical blockage to the circulatory system. So what is causing that blockage? We need to find out. If there's, impairment of the endothelium in the circulatory system, if there's no movement of circulation, then that's going to be a problem. So it may take more than just harmonizing with the quantum infinity. There may need to be something to move the circulatory system. We talked about this with the PEMF mats yesterday, with the Beamer mat in particular is the one that I talked about. It's profoundly great for moving the circulatory system. This is why I'm talking about the mats, because people have a lot of impediments to gaining their health back because of blockages in circulation. So Joanne, for that person, what could be happening is over time, they have been building up blockages in the circulatory system through diet. If you're You know what I'm going to say next. If you're eating free oils or animal fats over a period of time, there's no doubt it's going to damage the lining of the circulatory vessels. This is going to result in decreased circulation. You may even have the vessels starting to close up. You're starting to get blockages in the vessels. Well, running your Quantum Infinity is good. It's going to sort of make a little bit of a dent and help and definitely reveal the blockage, but you may need to do something more. There also may be a profound emotion connected to that. We know circulatory system related to the heart, related to flowing emotion, connecting with the energy of love. So what is there a missing emotional block that we've not discovered? If we don't get that one piece that's really blocking the circulatory system, then we won't get the movement in the circulatory system. These are very good questions. If you have a very low number, like here we have respiratory at 87, and if you continue to run that frequency over and over again, but it doesn't move or budge, you have to look elsewhere for the root cause. Emotional, or it's a physical lifestyle issue, or it's a physical pathology where you need a greater intervention or a structural intervention. So there are limitations of biofeedback because we're human beings. We're very multidimensional human beings. Does that mean biofeedback is not powerful? No, it's very powerful. It can balance all of those other things you might be able to blow through and see tremendous movement in those things. But when you come to that one piece, it's not just that piece. You have to look deeper. And so you have to find out what is causing the impairment in circulation. Some of your customized panels, Joanne, I know you have the set of customized panels, will be helpful towards that. So you can get in there and maybe look in those heart panels or in the blood pressure panels, because they tell you a lot about circulation, and get into the heart anatomy and find out what is actually going on. That would be, one good thing to do, and explore the emotions. I think it's good to have a balancing buddy too. So somebody else could run the Quantum Infinity on you and see what's coming up for you and give you a more objective perspective than you may be getting on yourself, or they may have another thought about it. Very good question, Joanne. Thank you. Does it matter whether the blocked meridians coming from Dolores is from the body, mind, or spirit in what you do about it? Does it matter if the blocked meridian is from body, mind, or spirit in what you do about it? Well, body, mind, and spirit are inextricably intertwined. So as you affect body, you affect mind. As you affect mind, you affect body. So whatever you do in those areas related to the meridian will have value. But sometimes there is a physical blockage that needs a greater intervention. Maybe it needs a homeopathic remedy. Maybe it needs a nutrient. So there are times when we need to pay attention, and especially when we're not moving the needle on those numbers, we need to look elsewhere. Okay, and Joanne says, can I purchase the mat from you? Yes, Joanne, please email me so I can send you information about that particular mat and what my research has revealed. And absolutely, we can do that. So be in touch with me at my email address. I'll write it down here in the chat box. And Dr. Charles says, it takes time to heal the circulatory system, and nitric oxide is critical. So I think that's really good input from Dr. Charles. It takes time to heal the circulatory system. These blockages could be building up for years. And he talks about nitric oxide because of the ability of nitric oxide to open up that circulation. So you want to look for different remedies that can help to open up that circulation. I know one of the things that Dr. Charles is probably referring to could be like arginine or one of the other nutrients that can help to create that nitric oxide in the body. And that's a powerful way to really open up the circulation. And it's always good to ask people how long have they had their particular ailment. And they'll tell you that, they're probably not aware of the time before when it was building up because they didn't have any symptoms. But how long have they been suffering with that particular piece, that particular thing that they've come to see you? Or how long have you been living with it? So that will tell you, one of the great mentors that I've had said for every year that they've had the illness, it's going to take them a month to heal. If they've had the particular ailment for 6 years, it's going to take them 6 months of working their healing program every single day. And if they have had it for 10 years, it's going to take 10 months. And this, of course, is just sort of an estimation, but it gives people that perspective that we can't expect to heal in a day. We're going to have to become committed to our healing process and create a new lifestyle for ourselves. Okay. What is the ideal number? Dr. Kim asks, and I do get this question often. So think about it this way. The edges are below 150 or above 650. So those are the edges. And we always, there might be something that's 200 that's out of balance for that person. We have to look at it as a pattern. So in general, the closer that you get to the middle, the more in harmony these things are. So technically around 300 or 400, but I wouldn't necessarily draw that clear of a conclusion. It's not to say at 527 the left atrium isn't just fine. So I think between 150 and 650, you're doing pretty good. The closer you get to the middle, perhaps between 200 and 600, you're doing better. But also, these things are calling out the priority for you at this time. So if you're in really, really good health, it's possible that it's going to, helping you to get better. What are your weakest links? So don't get upset if you see things that are still out of balance for yourself. It's a way to continue to improve your health by seeing the things that you most need to address today. Okay, and Mary Lee says, I personally have skin come up low routinely. Any thoughts? I'm assuming that's in the body systems. The skin, Dr. Lubecki talks about the skin as being a place where, I'm trying to figure out, where are you seeing skin come up? I don't think it's in body systems unless you're referring to integumentary. So Mary Lee, where are you seeing that come up for yourself? Let me know. But the skin is that when you see things on the skin, they're very, very telling of things going on deeper in the body. So people are often concerned about using things at the skin level, but of course it's things going on so much deeper. So when you see age spots, this is often your liver, right? They were called liver spots, right? The poor oxidation of fatty acids being shown on the skin is often associated with these spots that we're seeing. Different spider veins, right? Varicose veins. These can indicate low flavonoids, deficiencies in nutrition, and poor circulation. So there's a lot of tales to be told by the skin. A good reader of the skin, a good observer of the skin can tell you a lot about your internal health, right? Dry, flaky skin can be hypothyroid, or it could be a liver impairment. Losing the hair or the thinning of the hair, it's related more. Hair, skin, and nails are very, very connected. But so let me know, Mary Lee, where did that happen? Yes, integumentary. Well, integumentary is not just the skin. Integumentary can be the connective tissue of the body. So there's something going on at the skin level or in the connective tissue. Those are the places to begin to look. Yes, an integumentary and somewhere else will hunt for it and wondered about the endothelial as well as skin cancer. Lots of years of in sunny Africa. So yeah, you have to explore it more deeply, but it could be the skin, it could be the connective tissue. So you have to look a bit deeper. Do you have anything that you know going on the skin itself? Is there something going on with that? We did do a series on the skin although I don't know that the panels are in this one. I think they're on my other iPad. So we did do a class on the skin. This is the other version of my Quantum Infinity. So we don't have those, but looking at those panels could be really, really helpful. And those, if you don't have them, you might want to get them, as well as that class about the skin. We explore a lot of myths about skin cancer. And of course, you've seen a lot of recent articles and the research backing that up, that it really isn't about overexposure to the sun. It's really about a deficiency of nutrition in the body, including antioxidants and possibly a vitamin D deficiency. So if you're out in the sun, you may want to get your vitamin D levels checked. They're probably sufficient. But if you have a vitamin D deficiency, and you don't have a diet that's very rich in antioxidants, that is probably more causative for skin changes and ultimately skin cancer than the sun exposure itself. Okay, so, all right, Rebecca, definitely, she's asking about the webinar from last night. We'll definitely get a copy of that to you. And Dr. Ariel, check out what Ray Pete has to say about nitric oxide. Okay, I will. If you send me a link, it's better because I can remember to look at it better. And PS, just did the Maritz liver flush to see if that helps shift. That's good to work on the liver to help the skin. That's very, very smart. Dr. Bob Marshall talks a lot about doing coffee enemas. And he says the coffee enema is you get the liver cleansed out. It's been one of the best ways to have beautiful, glowing, lustrous hair. So thinning of the hair can be related to if the liver, especially the gallbladder, is blocked in some way. Okay, I've done black salve successfully, not aware of any other spots. Okay, do black salve, just do it very, very carefully. We talked about that in the skin webinar series. My vitamin D level is not good enough despite routine supplementation. Okay. All right. So good questions, you guys. Any other questions, things, topics? We've got about 11 minutes before the end of the hour. Some of these things are just comments, so I have not explored, or certainly there's medical evidence that nitric oxide can be very helpful for the vessels and improving circulation. So that is where I take my lead from in terms of Dr. Charles's excellent comment about the nitric oxide. But again, the importance of circulation. You could ask yourself, what am I doing for my circulation today? What am I doing to protect my vessels? Really important. And also, what am I doing to remove stagnation, which is related to good circulation? So is it skin brushing, rebounding, even getting a colonic can help to move the lymphatic fluid in the body to help to remove stagnation. What are you doing today to remove stagnation? Just doing a really good walk. Those are things that are all really, really great to do. I want to read this, the profound love healing code that I read on Tuesday. So those of you who are at Healers Roundtable, you'll get this again, a little bit of a bump in your energy. I'm going to put these into some customized panels and talk about that the love healing code. This is from an energy practitioner. Very, very interesting, has some very interesting energetics that are put on stickers that have strong energy to them. But I want to read this to you because sometimes when we're looking at the quantum infinity, we can get bogged down by all the things that appear to be wrong with us. Or even as a conscious person, you might be aware of the suspicious sprayings in the sky, or the constant chronic infections, or the EMFs. And so it can sort of bog you down a little bit, feeling like there's so much to overcome. But I want to remind you that spontaneous remission or a change in your health can come in a flash. And so it really is about a change in your awareness and a change in your thinking. So a way that you can restore your health at this moment is that you're saying, I'm completely given thanks for being completely restored to my excellent vitality and good health. I am so grateful, and so it is. I am completely grateful for the complete restoration to total vitality and wellness at this time. What I'm saying is that the true power rests in you and you setting your intention and your affirmations, that it can go so far beyond anything that's put in our path, anything that you may be suffering now, that it could turn around on a dime. It's possible that you could overcome it in a moment. Of course, it takes, it takes work too. You have to put the work into it, but I don't want you to put any blockages of possibility in your path. So I want to read this to you and then I want to discuss it a little bit. I'm going to be putting these pieces into some customized panels, which I think is going to be fun. We can look at this a bit next week. But let me read this to you. My body is made to self-heal. By changing my belief system, I choose to remove any blocking beliefs and release all of my body's healing potential. Now, I'll be sending this out with the weekly email so you can read it yourself. I choose to release all fear and trauma from my lifetime or from anyone else's lifetime, from every cell of my body. I choose to fill these spaces with the complete healing love of universal consciousness, or fill in your deity, God, Buddha. I choose to view the world as a wonderful place of joy, beauty, and love. And sometimes it's hard, isn't it, when we see the outer experience, right? Whatever the current things of the day are, or we feel that perhaps something is being waged against us in terms of the pesticides and so forth. But I choose to view the world as a wonderful place of joy, beauty, and love. I am the light. And this is the important one that I really wanted to focus on because of what we talk about in class. I am the light, love, truth, and strength of universal consciousness. I so radiate the Creator's truth that all darkness, or I so radiate the universal truth that all darkness, parasites, viruses, bacteria, molds, fungus, disease, and toxins pass harmlessly by me. So remember that if you so radiate love, if you build up that love inside of you, that vital force, then you might be throwing out all your supplements because you so radiate all of that nothing can touch you. Now, are you going to achieve it today? Maybe not, but it's something to really shoot for. So changing up the thought process, instead of that where, oh, we got to annihilate these, we got to get rid of them, we've got to get through these infections. Perhaps raising up your vibration and identifying so much with universal consciousness makes you resilient. In fact, none of these things can touch or penetrate you in any way. I just want to sort of get your thinking in that mode and see what happens. I choose to transform any negative energy or intentions I encounter. So, you can be sometimes dragged down by other people's thought processes. I choose to transform any negative energy or intentions I encounter from any source to the frequency of perfect divine love and forgiveness, and then return it to its source. I choose. Notice that I choose is the beginning of all of this. It isn't that I hope, or I hope someone gives it to me, or I hope that my karma is good enough. I choose. I choose to transform any negative energies or frequencies within me and that of universal highest truth and love, and then radiate this love and truth into the world. Let me say it one more time. I choose to transform any negative energies or frequencies within me to that of universal consciousness's highest truth and love, and then radiate this truth and love into the world. And then I choose to believe that I am completely healed by universal consciousness. So body, it is okay to release all of these negative things because I am safe and I am well. And so it is. And so when we look across, all of the things that help us to heal, remember the one thing that helps us to heal the most is our thoughts. And so just going back to that, the quantum infinity is a way that we focus our thoughts. The placebo effect, believing what we're doing is making us well, is one of the most effective ways that we heal ourselves. When we hold the remedy, We take the remedy. I just read about this remedy. I saw the double-blind placebo studies. I know this remedy is going to make me better. Well, was it the remedy or was it our belief about the remedy? So as we set our intention, it doesn't really matter what I do, right? Because I know that I'm taking steps to move in the right direction. And so I'm just giving thanks today that I'm completely healed of all the parasites. I'm completely healed of all of the bacteria. I'm completely healed of all of the fungus. I just want to impart that and share that with you because it sometimes can feel very challenging if we're dealing with Lyme or if we're dealing with the C word, with cancer. We can be up against an actual impediment of thought that we can't break through those particular things. So let's remove that impediment and know that in a thought process today, we could be spontaneously healed and return to our complete vital force and good health. So I will include that in that particular passage that I learned from that mentor in our weekly email. You automatically receive the weekly email because you're signed up for advanced training or Healers Roundtable. In the weekly email, I will also have the recording of the PEMF webinar, or you can email me directly, Ariel at Awaken Total Health, and I'll be happy to send it to you today. Let's get any of your final comments before we wrap up for the day. We have just a couple of minutes left. Okay. Back to the basics here. Could you answer my email? Maggie, definitely. Can you send me the email to that email address and I'll answer it for you? Dr. Kim says, what do you recommend? Sorry, I have a bit of a cold. What do you recommend for EMF? I have not found anything to solve this high degree in my home. Dr. Kim, email me. My software locks up on my iPad comments. I also wanted to know if you can remove things from the multi-layer, as that attempt seems to lock up my software. Dr. Charles, make sure that you and everyone else, make sure you're updated to the very latest version of iOS and the very latest version of the app itself. If it still locks up, then you definitely want to email the admin office, admin@quantum-life.com, and they will help you. You should be able to open the multi-layer RX by tapping on it, and it should open up. If it causes you to be bumped out of the program, then try the things that I have described. But if they do not remedy it, then definitely contact technical support. All right. And Mary Lee says the love code is just fabulous. Thank you again. Good info. Ariel says Sandy, blessings. And Karen says fantastic webinar. You're so sweet, Karen. Thank you so much for the positive impact of the positive feedback. My brain is getting a little fuzzy right now. So thank you guys so much for all of the great questions today. Send me your questions, Ariel at awakentotalhealth.com. And I will come back. I can answer them in advanced training, or I can answer you directly. So I want to send you many, many blessings for a prosperous week, high vibrational energy, good vital force, and all of the spontaneous remission and healing that you can imagine. Thank you for the amazing work that you're doing out in the universe, bringing the quantum infinity healing to many, many lives. Thank you so much. Have a great week, everyone. Take care and be well. Bye-bye for now.